Okay, week 7. Um, yeah, not as exciting as the last few weeks. So yeah, land trains week 7. Uh, fixed some bugs, improved targeting around extra sections, just some general bugs inside of the system itself, and did a bunch of testing on the lower decks and the upper decks. And that is it. Had significantly less time to work on it. Probably by half, probably more than half. Um, Traveled last week, so definitely didn't get as much done. On the bright side, that does mean that we can spend some time actually talking about where are we at with the gameplay. Um, cool. I don't know what causes this behavior. Um, this does happen on occasion. I don't know why. Anyway, so we are going to make sure we don't die, and we're gonna make sure we get one of each of the different towers. So we have our Zappy Tower. Our Zappy Tower is your main source of area of effect damage. We have an Ice Tower, which places a smoke cloud that lasts for a while and slows things down. Doesn't do any damage. We have our Fire Tower, which right now seems to be just primarily focused on creating fire inside clouds, but it's a creates damage over time effect inside of an area. So we have oh, that was a mistake. All of the major tower concepts covered. I need to not keep doing that. And yeah, it's working pretty well. For the lower deck, we have a ability to increase our pickup range, right? So I'm increasing my pickup range by 3 with this. And the biggest drawback with doing that, of course, is the opportunity cost. So yes, you increase your pickup range by a lot, but by doing so, you lose out on some of the other things you could do. By the way, there is a known, well, there's no, of course, a known bugs. Everything's a known bug at some point. Um, but I am aware that right now it's not working very well um, with how things are going. Anyway, let's actually take a couple more of those guys. And let's talk about the lower decks. Broadside's not implemented yet. Those are just going to allow you to shoot more and shoot to the side. I killed myself. Oh well. Exchange is going to be more interesting when there's actual uses for coins. So right now we have 400 coins, and the 400 coins don't do anything. Also right now all the game doesn't work right anymore because, well, we're dead, which confuses a number of different enemies, which require us to be alive because that's how the targeting logic works behind the scenes. Let's see what else. Did we cover all 4? Yes, we have the lightning turret, the fire turret, and the ice turret, and then the basic cannons. I'm still gonna have to figure out how to make like the fire look better. The fire right now looks terrible. Oh, and then the game died. So yeah, it's all looking like it is doing pretty decent. And the playability is there. I mean, right now we're got about 400 enemies. I mean, it did just crash. Running around. We have a train which is 20 low 20s in length. Every 10 hearts you see a little break up here. So this gives you a rough estimate of how long your train is. So that means that you have an extra 20 some odd enemies or units fighting effectively. So yeah, pretty happy with actually where things are at, but it definitely is going to require some extra work, some cleanup of the user interface. Right now the train is 3 sections. I want to change that to possibly 2 sections. Adding or removing sections is at this point pretty easy. Now that I figured out a way to extend it to 3 sections, making it 2 sections isn't a big deal. I want to do more work on the lower parts of the train. Right now the lower parts of the train, well, the only thing that really works is the pickup range and engineering. And engineering gives you like a little bit of regeneration in the game. I don't know if I like that, but the opportunity cost is pretty high. Need to implement broadsides and need to implement costs so that exchanging supply for more gems is a meaningful decision. Right now, it doesn't cost you anything to upgrade your towers, or which doesn't do anything to be fair, or to change your towers out. So I want to change that behavior and make it more interesting to sacrifice the length of your train and in exchange getting more gems to upgrade your towers higher. So that gameplay mechanic isn't in yet. That is something I want to work on. As well as figuring out exactly what's not working and just getting through the bugs. So yeah, overall, it's in roughly the same state as last week. I think it is relatively playable as far as a game is concerned. I need to put a timer on so I have an idea as to like how long I'm playing before things go south. But yeah, it's interesting. There's enough. There's a lot going on. Maybe too much going on. Even though it's a relatively simplistic setup, it is also incredibly unforgiving because you're playing Snake, and if you eat yourself, you die. So there's that problem. But overall, I think things are in a good enough spot. The code is in a good spot. I mean, definitely our frame rates start to drop with a few hundred enemies, but a few hundred enemies also in this size map feels meaningful. So that is pretty good so far. Lots of bugs to work through, but we'll deal with that later. I'm gonna leave it here because I want to troubleshoot that defect. So, got a couple of things around targeting and you want to work on. So first of all, right now, I think targeting effectively targets closest, regardless of preferred traits of the enemies. So I want to update that so that if there are small targets within range, the lightning goes after the small targets rather than that the lightning gets stuck on an earthworm and keeps zapping it. I still have a race condition. I got some help on the forum which you need to check out, or in the Discord. Earthworms still don't work quite right. They show up underneath the player, which is that's a terrible way of doing it. And sometimes the worm manages to enter the train squares. So somewhere in the pathing logic, it doesn't recognize there's an obstruction in those squares. And the small bugs can get kind of derpy, where they will target and they will keep the target as they chase it, but as they chase it, they can get closer to the train and they don't realize that like, hey, I could be attacking right now if I didn't just keep trying to chase this target that's moving away from me. So making the small bugs a little bit smarter, I think is going to be good. Small features, shooting line needs curves, burning ground looks ugly. I am totally going to just see if I can recreate the burning ground from Path of Exile. I think that looks fine. And I've looked at lots of other solutions. And that's one looks the most attainable and decent looking. Respecting block squares for targeting. This is important for the broadsides, because right now everything is a 360 targeting arc. I want to make my earthworm come out of the ground. It makes me sad that it doesn't do that right now. And I realized that I have issues with scaling. Like when you have a high resolution monitor, then apparently the controls just kind of vanish. Lots of big features planned. I don't think I'm going to get to all of these things. I have some accessibility items I want to start working on. You know, I'm not going to create a snake that you can't play with 2 buttons. And right now I'm at 12 buttons. No, it's 10 buttons. And I want to go towards 14 buttons. That's kind of the scope is at. But I want to see if I can keep the game playable at 2 buttons, 4 buttons, or 6 buttons. So yeah, we'll see what happens this week. The weekend's pretty much over, so probably not much updates for this week either. But hopefully after that, gonna get back into the swing of things.